Guys, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to look at a Leetcode problem, and the problem's name is maximum length of a concatenated string with unique characters. In this question, we're given an array of strings called ARR. A string is formed by the concatenation of a subsequence of ARR, that is, the strings present inside ARR that have unique characters. Our task is to return the maximum possible length of the string, and by definition, a subsequence is an array that is derived from another array by deleting some or no elements without changing the order of the remaining elements. So let's take this example and see how we can solve this question. So let's take the first example. So we're given three strings and their index positions are 0, 1 and 2. So let us identify few keywords, and from the test case itself, you will understand how to approach this problem. You can just solve this using a simple iteration. So first keyword is that unique characters. So you have to find a subsequence of strings inside ARR. So we have to first deal with unique characters. So the output should have unique characters. So if the output is S and it is formed by and few smaller strings, if the output is a unique string, it will be formed by smaller unique strings, right? And those unique strings are the values present inside ARR. So we have to check not only if the output string is containing unique characters, but before appending also you have to check if every smaller string, that is the string inside ARR, is going to contain unique characters. So first let's discuss how we are going to identify if a string is having unique characters or not. So first I've taken a simple string. We'll write a helper function which will identify if a string is having unique characters or not. It will work with any of the strings. I'm just showing you with a sample string. And this helper function is going to return either true or false as the output. So true represents the input string is having unique characters, and false represents that input string given to the function is not unique. So let's see how we are going to identify if a string is unique or not. And it is given in the question that this string is going to contain lowercase English letters. How many lowercase English letters are there in the alphabet? There are 26. So I created a Boolean array for every index position. So I have a Boolean array of size 26 where index position starts from 0 until 25. 0th index position represents A and zth index position represents 25. So initially every element is having false. So now I iterate through the input string from left to right. I take first character, it is a M. So I go to that character, it is M, right? I'll turn it to true because we already encountered a M. So this is true. In the next iteration, I'm going to take a. We check if it is already true. No, it is not true. So this is the first time we are accessing that. If it's the first time, we set it to true. Next character, we are at G. We check if G has already been visited. No. So set it to true because we are visiting it now. The next character is M. We go to M, we check if it is true. Yes, it is true. It means you already encountered a M. We encountered a M here, right? So that is why we set it to true. So as soon as you find a true inside any character, we return this function will come out and this function will return false. This string is not containing unique characters. So that is the first part of the question. The second keyword is that we have to form subsequences of ARR. So subsequences of ARR we are going to form using this. So UN plus IQ is equal to UN IQ is a subsequence. Whereas IQ plus UN, you can't do IQ plus UN because IQ appears after UN. So you can't go back and form IQ plus UN. So this is one other statement. So with this, you have to get the intuition that you have to use for loop. If you're using for loop, you have to use a iterative method. So we can solve this question using iterative method. And what you're going to do inside every iteration is the third keyword, which is concatenation. As we discussed here, we are going to concatenate every string and form an overall unique string. For the overall unique string to be unique, every string you're using to form the overall unique string also has to be unique. So this function you're going to apply on these unique strings and also on the overall output string you're going to apply this function. And third and final sign is given here in the explanation. So this is the main part, how we are going to form the output. So you start off with an empty string. Since this does not have any characters, it is already unique. And next you add the next string. So every individual string which has unique characters can be added. So this is the first part. So this will give you UN. Now into this UN, I'm going to add the next two strings. So I'm going to add first IQ. This will give me UN IQ. And next I'll try to add UE. But this UE won't be considered because this U is repeating here. So this is the max you can reach in this tree. And now you start again with empty string plus IQ. You tried with UN, this is done. Now we try with IQ. Now this will give you IQ. Now into this IQ you can't add UN because you can't go back. You will add UE. So this will give you IQ UE. And we end our iteration. This is having length 4 and this is having length 4. So max length is 4. So 4 is our output. So this is a step-by-step approach. You have to implement these signs 1, 2, 3 and 4 in code. So let us apply these in code. Coming to the function given to us, this is the function name and this is the array given to us as a form of a list, and the return type is an integer because we have to return the maximum possible length of s. So as discussed, first let us create the result which will contain the probable answers. So that is also going to be a list of strings, right? So let me copy this and paste it here. I'm going to name it result. And inside this result, we are going to start off with an empty string, right? So from this, we are going to build our rest of the answers, and out of which we have to calculate the maximum one, which has the maximum length. So let's start by adding this into the result so that we can build on that. Now let us iterate through the input ARR using a for loop. So we start off with the 0th element and iterate till the array's length. So this is a list, so we use size. Now let us start off by the 0th element. So I store that into a string because this is a list of strings. So I name it str and get the ith element for each iteration. So arr.get of I. Now we will have a new string inside this str for every iteration. We start with this string, next we'll have this, and in the end we'll have this. Now we have to start off by checking every string if it has unique characters or not. So for that, let us write a helper function. So this helper function will take a string as an input and return true or false. So this is a private helper function. The return type is boolean because it returns true or false. I'm going to name it has unique characters and take a string as a parameter. Now we have to check this string if it has unique characters or not. And inside the constraint, it is given that that string is going to contain only lowercase English letters. So I'm going to take a boolean array called visited, which will keep track if a particular letter has already occurred inside the string. And this will have 26 size because there are 26 lowercase letters. Now we are going to iterate through this string array character by character. So I'm going to use a for each loop, which will take one character at a time. I'm going to convert this str into a character array using the toChar array method so that we get access to every character inside this str string. So initially all the values inside this boolean array are going to be having false as the values. So I'm going to check if this particular character has true as its value. If a character has true as its value, then it means it has already been visited. That means it has already been occurred inside this string in the previous iterations. So if it is a true, then we can return false directly. So let us first check if that character is having true or false as the value. So I'm going to access the visited array. I'm going to check the character's position and check if it is a true. So we are checking the boolean value of that character if it has already been visited inside the visited array. And we can write this better by removing this. So this is also meaning the same. Now we are going to return false because that character has the value true because initially everything has false. So I'm returning false. If this is true, then we return false. And in the else block, it means this character is having false as its value. So it means it hasn't been visited yet. So I'll make that particular value as true. So visited of ch. So let me copy this and set it to true. So this will happen for all the characters inside this str, and if we haven't returned false, we can return true outside the for loop. So if a particular string returns true, it means it has unique values. So I'm going to use this helper function inside this main function. So first I'm going to check if this original string, this str which we are accessing, is having unique characters or not. If it does not have unique characters, we can skip the loop using the continue statement. So if this particular string which we are iterating in the current iteration does not have unique characters, I'll use the continue statement to skip the current iteration. Because this particular string is not qualified to be part of our answer. It already has some repeated values and it's not a unique string. Now I'll declare an array list for the current string and find out our probable answers. So this will also contain strings. I'm going to name it current list. Now let's iterate through the result and keep building our output for every string. So let me use a for each loop. So this result is also going to contain strings, right? So I'll access one string at a time using string s and iterate through the result. Now we are going to form these probable strings. So let me use a string builder to concatenate each of them. So I'm initializing a string builder which is initially empty, and in every loop this string builder will be reinitiated with an empty string builder. Now inside the string builder, first I'm going to append the string and then the current str, and then whatever value this string builder is having, we have to pass it to this has unique characters to check if this string builder is having unique characters. So first into the string builder I'm going to append s, and then I'm going to append str. Now I'm going to check if this string builder sb is having unique characters. But this function is going to take a string as a parameter, but this is a string builder, so convert the string builder into a string. Now if this string has unique characters, then we can add it into our current list. So current list.add of sb.toString, because the current list is also going to contain strings. So I'm converting the string builder into a string. Now this will keep happening for all the strings present inside the result, and we'll get a list of the current probable answers. I'm going to add these all probable answers into our final result outside this for loop. So result.addAll of this list. So this process will happen for all the strings present inside this ARR. And finally outside the for loop, we have our probable strings inside result, which means for this example, we have these probable strings inside result. And out of these strings, we have to find the length of the longest string. So I'm going to create a variable called max length and initialize it with the minimum possible value. Or you can assign 0 to this because a string cannot have negative length. So let's start with the least possible value, 0. Now let's iterate through all the strings present inside this result. So I'm going to use a for each loop and access each string at a time inside this result. And now I'm going to get this current string's length. So int current length is equal to str.length, and compare this current length with the current max length. So if current length is greater than max length, then I'm going to assign this current length to the max length, because that is the maximum length we have found until now. So max length is equal to current length. And now outside this for loop, so this process will happen for all the strings present inside the result list, and we'll get the maximum length string inside max length. So return that as the output. Now we have completed the code. Let's run the code. And the test cases are being accepted. Let's submit the code. And our solution has been accepted. So the time complexity of this approach is 2 power n, where n is the length of the input list given to us. And the space complexity is also the same because we are using a list to form our output, and the list can contain all subsequents as probable answers, because if every string contains unique characters, then we will have all combinations present inside this list. Now let's debug the code. I've placed 3 breakpoints and see how the output is being built. So this is the input we are taking, and we have declared the result, which is a list, and it is initially containing an empty string because we added it here. Now we are going to iterate through the input list and take one string at a time. So first str will contain un. So I is equal to 0, str will contain un. We check if this string un has unique characters. I'm using this helper function. Since un has unique characters, this will be skipped, because here we are checking if this function returns false, but this returns true for un. And now I'm creating a list. So current list is initially empty. Now I iterate through the empty list, because we have to start building our output from empty list. To this empty list, I'm going to add the first string, for which we already placed the check if it is unique. Un is unique, so we append un to this empty string. So a string builder is initially empty. Now I'm appending s. S is empty, and to that empty string I'm appending un. String builder contains un. We are converting that into a string and checking if this un has unique characters. Yes, it has unique characters. So I'm adding that un into the current list. So here you can see un has been added to the current list. And now we check if any other strings are present inside the result. No. So it comes out and goes to the next iteration. So it adds all the current list strings into the result. So un is a probable answer. So I'm adding that into the final result. So un will be added here. So un is added. Now I is equal to 1. We take iq and then we append iq to this, and then we append iq to this. And now our current string str is iq, and we append it to these probable answers if this iq contains unique characters. So first I'm checking if iq contains unique characters. Yes, it contains, so it is skipped. And now we create a current list for iq string. So here I'm using a for each loop to iterate through all the strings present inside result and appending it inside iq. So first s will be assigned an empty string. So here as you can see, s is empty and a new string builder is created, and to the string builder I'm appending empty string plus iq. which will give us IQ. So IQ is inside string builder, and I'm converting this string builder IQ into a string and checking if this IQ has unique characters. Yes, it has unique, so add it into the current list. So IQ has been added to the current list. Now S is UN. We create a string builder SB, and into this SB I'm appending S. So first UN is appended, and then to UN IQ is appended, and the entire string builder has UN IQ. I'm checking if UN IQ has unique characters. Yes, it has unique characters, so it will enter and it will be added into the current list. So UN IQ will be added to the current list. So here, as you can see, UN IQ has been added, and now we check if any more strings are present inside result. No, so it will come out of this for loop and add all the current list strings into the overall result. So IQ and UN IQ will be added to result. So IQ and UN IQ are added into result. Now I is equal to 2. It is UE. We check if UE contains unique characters. Yes, UE is unique characters. So it will be skipped and we continue with our iteration. So if a current string does not contain unique characters, it will enter, and using this continue statement, it will skip the current iteration and it will go on to the next strings present inside ARR. But in this string, UE is qualified, so we create a new list and iterate through all the strings present inside this. So UE will be created here, and here UN and UE can't be attached because UE is repeating. So IQ plus UE will be appended. So string builder, first it will form SB. So UE will be appended to string builder. So we are checking if UE has unique characters. Yes, so add it into the current list. UE is added. Now S contains UN, and now it will be appended to UE. So UN UE is the string. We check if UN UE has unique characters. So this will return false because U and U are repeating. So this is not a unique string. So it won't enter if statement. So it is going for the next string. Next, S is at IQ. We create a new string builder. We append S and UE. So IQ plus UE, we get IQ UE. We check if IQ UE is unique. Yes, all the characters are unique. So it will enter and add IQ UE into the current list. Now in the next iteration, we are at UN IQ. We try to add UE to UN IQ. So UN IQ UE will be the string. UN IQ UE unique, but this is not a unique string because U and U are repeating, so this will be skipped. So that has been skipped, and in the next iteration we are checking if there are any more strings for S. No, we reach the end, so it will come out of the for loop and add what all current list elements are present into the result. So those have been appended into the result, and now we check for any more characters. I is equal to 3 now, which comes out of bounds, so we come out of the for loop. Now we have our result. Out of this, we have to form the longest string. Currently, we create a variable max length, which is 0, and it will compare all the lengths. And finally, this string has length 4, so max length will have 4. So here, as you can see, max length will be updated to 4. And now this has 2, still max length is 4. IQ UE also has length 4, max length is also 4, so it won't be updated. Now we processed all the strings length inside result, and we reach the end of the result list, and whatever is present inside max length will be returned as the output. Max length has 4, so 4 was returned as the output, which is the expected output here. That's it guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.